Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making two dishes with ground beef. The first one is a shortcut lahmajoun, which is a Middle Eastern pizza. It's popular in countries such as Armenia, Turkey, and Lebanon. Here I have a pack of ground beef. It's 1 pound. These were on sale, 2 for $8.88, so this is $4.44 for this pound of ground beef. I got that at Loblaws. I'm using some stuff from my fridge, but these are also traditional ingredients like peppers, garlic, onion, parsley. I'm also using up some green onions, and I have some paprika and cumin and some tomato sauce. I have a pan on medium-high, and I'm going to add the ground beef. I'm going to use a masher because I want this to be a nice mince. I don't want it super chunky. Traditionally, this would be blended into a paste with all the veggies and herbs and seasonings. So I'm browning this meat now. Keep mashing it a bit more, just breaking it up. You almost want to get it at a nice mince. You do not want super chunky bits. Once that meat has cooked a bit and brown, I'm adding some freshly chopped onion. I'm prepping as I go so I can save time. So as this is cooking, I'll be chopping some other ingredients as well. I'm going to add the chopped red pepper. I had a whole bag of these little peppers and I've just been using them all throughout the week. My friend who's coming over is half Italian, and I just found out her fiance is half Armenian. I had no clue. So she told me she's eaten lahmajoun quite a lot. I added my paprika, cumin, and I decided to add some chili flakes for some heat as well. And I'm just using up some green onions. This recipe doesn't call for green onions, but these were yellowing a bit, and I just wanted to get them used. This looks so colorful. And it smells amazing. I want this mixture to be moist and not dry, so I'm just adding a bit of water, and then I'm going to add some tomato sauce to this. You could use canned crushed tomatoes. Right now I'm using some herb tomato sauce from my fridge, and it's really, to me, this is like an Italian, Middle Eastern, or a Mediterranean Middle Eastern mashup. I'm going to bring this to a simmer, and I am cooking it on medium-high heat, so I'm going to cover it and let it go for a while. After about 10 minutes, I'm going to come back to this. It's thickened up and it's looking really good. We don't want too wet of a spread to go on the flatbread. We need it to be more like a paste. In goes the parsley. I did taste this and it wasn't spicy enough for me, so I'm adding some picante, which is just some preserved hot Italian peppers. I added a bit more cumin so it can have more flavor. This really is like a mashup of Middle Eastern and Italian food. I used to work for an Armenian couple many years ago, and they used to get these lahmajoun from a famous place called Lahmajoun's Pizzeria. I'm just going to add a bit more water now and do a final cook for about 10 more minutes. This is really cooked down because it was on a medium-high temperature. So I'm just using my masher and I'm going to mash it. That's the perfect texture. I'm adding some salt. I'm just going to clean this pan so it doesn't look so terrible, although cooking is messy and cooking does get messy. But I also scooped some grease off the sides. Now this is done. You can smell the spices, you can smell the herbs. Some other ways you could eat this is served over hot cooked rice or pasta. This would also make an amazing sloppy joe. This took about a good 20 minutes to cook, but that is the texture I'm looking for. To go with this, and while the filling is cooling, I'm going to make a quick parsley salad using some red onions, some tomatoes, and fresh parsley and garlic. I got 3 of these lemons on sale for $1.49. They are organic. I'll find the softest one and use that first. Yep, that one is good to go. And these 2 other, I'm going to keep them in the fridge and use them another time. For our salad, in goes some chopped fresh parsley. Roughly chop it doesn't have to be super fine. And I'm going to also be adding some chopped red onions. This is going to save you time because the filling is cooling and getting ready for the flatbreads. I'm using the 2 tomatoes. It is winter here, so having freshness in my life just is so invigorating. I'm using a whole lemon, all the juices, and even the pulp. Remove any seeds. You can see that pulp there too. It's just going to make it extra lemony. And now I add a whole clove of garlic. This tastes like a tabbouleh salad, which is usually made with some bulgur wheat in addition. This smells so good. It's so garlicky. And this is going to go perfect as a topper. I'm just mixing this really well to get all the flavors in. Traditionally, Lahmajoun is served with pickled veggies or fresh veggies. It's usually on a thin crust and rolled up. I see it more like a street burger, but way better than a burger. Look how beautiful this is. Get all that lemon juice dripping in there. I make this in advance because it needs to marinate a bit. The parsley leaves are quite tough, so I want it to get softened up with the citric acid and all those flavors to come together. Here is the cool Lahmajoun mixture. Remember, this is a cheater's Lahmajoun, so I'm using some Greek pita. Traditionally, Lahmajoun is made with fresh dough, and the topping is raw. The meat is thinly spread. It's baked in the oven, and you could literally roll it up because it's just so thin. Imagine a thin crust pizza when you roll it up and just eat it like that. Lahmajoun is very similar. It's 3 of us, and I'm just going to use this whole batch of meat. There's no point in saving any. Traditionally, Lahmajoun has a very thin layer of meat, but the 2 people I'm feeding today are meat eaters, so I'm not going to skimp on that meat. Look at it, it's so thick and heavy. I'm going to flatten it out and just make sure it's evenly distributed and get it ready for the oven. I have a pizza pan. I'm just putting some parchment paper on it for an easy cleanup. and it's just going to ensure a nice brown crust. I'm going to put this in the oven on 400 for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then I'm also going to broil it for 1 minute so the top gets nice and browned as well. Here are the finished lahmajoun, steaming hot. Let's cut these into quarters. This is going to be very filling. It's thick, it's heavy, and it smells heavenly. It's steamy. You could use flour tortillas for a thinner version. Here is the complete lahmajoun. I'm going to try this before I serve it to my guests so I can make sure I'm happy with what I'm serving them. Let's take a bite. Oh my goodness. The flavors are amazing. Next, I'm going to be making beef kofta. Beef kofta are herbed and spiced meatballs common in the Middle East as well as some South Asian countries. I have a pound of ground beef. I'm adding chopped parsley, chopped onion, and chopped garlic. I have 1 egg and I'm going to add it as a binder. Beef kofta is spiced with warm spices such as cumin, sumac, paprika. I'm keeping this one simple. I'm going to mash this, add some salt and pepper and cumin. Once this gets to the texture that I want, I'm going to be making some patties. I'm just grabbing and scooping. The size doesn't have to be anything special. I roll it like I would a meatball, and then I slap it down and pat it down, and then they look like this afterwards. In a hot pan on medium high, I'm going to place these and let them brown and cook for about 5 minutes on each sides. After they've been browned, I'm going to flip them. That's a really good color. I was chopping some pickled veggies that I had in my fridge and also some fresh tomatoes. These really only take about 10 minutes to cook. So once they're brown on each side, you can toss them about for a bit and put that lid on, let it steam down, turn the heat off. Here is what's going to go with the spread. My husband loves this stuff. We have some pickled turnips, which I always have in the fridge. I have some chopped fresh tomatoes. I have some peperoncini just for some heat, some pickled cucumbers, and some pickled red onions our friend gave us in the summer. I'm going to show you what these cooked meatballs look like, or kofta rather. They smell amazing. It's so fast, and this spread for 2 is so filling because it's a whole pound of ground beef. And again, this was on sale. I'm doing the bounce test because I know it's fully cooked. And that's how I check it's fully cooked. Let's see what it looks like inside. It smells amazing. The herbs and spices and the onions and garlic, they're nice and steamed within the meat. Oh yes, that tastes really good. Let's get this ready for serving. I'm using some Greek-style pita. I'm just going to heat it up on my old trusty tawa. I don't want them crunchy or hard. I want them soft and pillowy. Koftas can be served with rice and salad or in a wrap, but I'm just doing a spread where we can just eat it as we go. So I just cut these in quarters. They're nice and pillowy. The way to eat this is just put your kofta on a piece of bread and put your favorite toppings on it. Bite in and enjoy.